Alrighty guys, I'm Casey and welcome to a brand new episode of StoneBlock 2 guys. If you missed the last episode, we overhauled our power system, taking it from producing about 20,000 RF to producing well over 100,000. We also did infinite lava, so now we have all the lava we will ever need. Then I went ahead and edited my mob farm some so that we could get the enchants off of the armor and store them in storage drawers, as well as automatically opening up the loot crates to get all of those goodies too. So we had quite a productive last episode. This episode I want to continue that tradition of doing something new and doing something old. You see, first up, I want to complete the hallway. The hallway looks really nice, but we are missing something at the intersection. You see, there's nothing there. And for that, I want to use some blocks from Botania. I think they'll look really good in there. So we are going to be getting into Botania and hopefully quite deep into it in terms of where we're going to go. That's the first thing that I want to do. Then I want to turn my attention to our smelting room, the room where we smelt up all of our ingots. Right now it's very barren and bare while I try and figure out exactly what I want to do in there. I've got a rough idea, so I want to get at least some of that done. I'm not going to get all of it done because I can't get all of it done yet, but I think I can get a significant portion of it done. So if that's something that you think you're going to enjoy, guys, do me a favor. Leave the video a like, hit subscribe. Without any further ado, let's get into the episode. So it was time to set about our first task of the day. I set up the RF Tools builder, I gave it all the right coordinates, and I hit the switch and I let it do its thing. Now watching the stone just slowly peel away in the darkness was a never satisfying sight as I sat and watched it. But, as in all Casey fashion, I would soon be interrupted. A spider decided that he wanted a hug, and I did not want a hug, so I clobbered him with my spear. After that, I sat back in another attempt, and another, and another, and again, I was interrupted by spiders. But once the stone had peeled away, there was only a couple of things left to do. Now this area was big and it looked good, but it was dark and mobs were spawning. So I grabbed my torch thrower and I went out there and I started lighting it up. Now this is annoying because skeletons like to twang you with their bow and send you everywhere when you're in the air. And I just couldn't be bothered to kill all the mobs for them just to respawn again. But eventually I was able to get the entire area lit up, and then I flew away from about 30 blocks just to give them more chance to despawn. Came back and cleaned up the ones that couldn't despawn because they were holding items like the zombies that had picked up bones and essence and stuff like that. Boy, is that a big area cleared out. So now we can actually start placing down some blocks, and I'm thinking it's going to be quite a reasonably sized room. I don't know how big. I don't know if I want to come quite all the way over to this area just yet. I am perfectly okay though with overtaking this area. I would like the whole room to be it, but I don't think we need a botanical garden that big. So I think we're going to go definitely on an odd number. But I can't finish this room just yet anyway once I put the dirt down. You see, some of the blocks that I actually want to use in this room to decorate it are Botania blocks. So to decorate it, I first need to get into Botania. So I think I'm just going to lay down a rough outline of how big I want this room to be. Fill it all in with the dirt. And then we can get started on Botania. Now that it's all dirt, we need to make this section look more botanical. So we just need some grass. You get grass seeds from sieving. You should have plenty by now if you're this far into the game. So what we're just going to do is plant these down in just random spots and let them spread. There are always ways to speed this up though. You can craft something called a watering can. And I think the one from Extra Utilities should do. I don't have any bowls. I know for a fact I don't. And I'm hoping this one does. Now, I do believe we just right-click on water. Okay, we've got to hold and right-click on water to fill it up. And then we should just be able to hold right-click, and it will spread this grass pretty quickly. Now, with it all grass, it's time we can start getting into Botania. And the first thing that we need to get into Botania is actually the botanical flowers. And they're fairly easy to get. What we need is this fertilizer here, this floral fertilizer. This is made with 2 dandelions and 2 poppies, or at least the dye that they make, and a bone meal. Now, if you don't know how to get these in your world or you're struggling, it's the vanilla way. You just bone meal grass and plants will grow on them, both dandelions and rose reds. You then just dump these through a sag mill, or you could just easily craft them up, and that'll give you them. And then you could craft up the floral fertilizer. So I'm going to grab every bit of this that I've got. I think this is obtainable through loot chests. It is. Yes, you may even have some of this from your mob farm. So we're going to go and we're going to start getting plants. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the grass patch. I'm going to hold right click. I'm going to press it a few times. And then I'm just going to vein mine. And thankfully it vein mines all of them. And this way I'll just get a bunch of the flowers that we will need. So now we've got all of our goodies from from growing these botanical flowers. And now what we need to do is we need to start getting into Botania. Now the main thing of Botania, the main sort of operation is all done through the mana pool pretty much. Pretty much everything that we're going to do will be done using this mana pool. Now you can get this through loot crates. We already have quite a few through loot crates. But I figured we'd craft one up just to show you guys how this is done, because I do need this living rock anyway, so it's not going out of my way. Now living rock we get by using stone on a pure daisy. Now to get a pure daisy, we need to use a petal apothecary. And to do this, we need to craft one, which is crafted fairly simply by just using cobblestone, stone slabs, and either some of the shimmering mushrooms that can be found in caves, or some of these petals. Now, how do we get petals? Well, you get them from your flowers. You just put your flowers in here, and there you go. You've got the petals. Now, I've gone for the white ones because we need the white ones for the petal apothecary. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the petal apothecary. Where is it? It's here, look. Give me this. There we go. And boom. There we go. And this thing does work fairly simply. Now, I do believe this needs water, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, it needs water. Yes, it does. Okay, brilliant. Now, this is where you're going to want to go ahead, grab your magnet, turn it off. You don't need your magnet on for this. It will just mess with it up. Now, if we were to look at this this living rock again, you can see that it's a pure daisy. A pure daisy that we need. Pure daisy is these mythical white petals or these white shimmering mushrooms. So how do we do this? How does this work? Well, it's actually fairly easy. You just stand on here, you press Q, and it goes in. And you can see there on the screen, when we look at it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's going to do it. But, as you see, nothing is happening. Shift, right click, just gives us back a petal. It doesn't actually do anything. And why is that? Well, I think that's because we actively need... Oh, come on. Why you not letting me put you in? Oh, of course. I've just said that you've got to throw it in. So, it says it's not working because, look, it needs a seed. So let's go get a seed. Now, if you can't see that, if you just look there, it's got the 4 petals, and just below the arrow, it says a seed. So I think if we throw a seed in, it will work. There we go. We've got a pure daisy. So let's put a pure daisy down. So now how do we turn the stone into the living rock? You may think, okay, you know what? I'll just throw it down. That's how we did the last one. But actually, no. With this, what you do is you turn it, you just simply put it around it. Surround it. You can see these particles are slowly going off. And after a little bit of time, this will all convert to that living rock. There you can see, just like that, it's converted. It does take a little bit of time. It's not an overly long amount of time, but it takes a reasonable amount of time. We'll probably see these two go ahead and do that while we're doing this next bit. So I'll kind of keep that off there to the side of the screen so you guys can see it in the background there. But now we just need to make the mana pool, which is made like so. And there is our mana pool. We can put that down and we can start actually making progress within Botania. So now that we've got our mana pool, this is how we are going to be interacting with Botania and the mod from here on outwards. But there's also things that we need to do. You see, it's empty right now. There's nothing in it. And you can't just put water in it. No, this fills up with mana. And how do you generate mana or mana, however you want to pronounce it? Well, it's fairly simple. There are a bunch of flowers in the pack that will do just that. Now, in StoneBlock, I'm going to go for endo flames. This is my preferred method anyway. It's just very easy to automate. So, what we need to do is we need to craft up an ender flame. Now, I do have a fair few of these because you do get them from loot crates, but we'll craft up one just in case you don't know how to do it. So, all it requires is 2 brown, 1 red, and 1 light grey. So I've got my brown. I've already turned my brown into these brown petals. I've got my red, turned some red into it. And the next one we need is light grey. Now, make sure you do grey. Make sure you do light grey, not grey. I just did this clip and it didn't work because I was using the wrong one. Now, a little tip that you can do, rather than having to click Q on everything in your inventory, just where you're in the inventory screen here, just press Q over the one that you want to throw in. And yeah, now we need a seed. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've got some seeds. Where's my seeds? There's my seeds. So we can just throw a seed in. And there we go. We've got our endo flame. Now what we're going to do is put this down near the mana pool and give it some fuel. Now that we've got the endo flame, we need to now bind this to this mana pool. You need to do this with all of the flowers that you do. And to do this, we need a wand. And there are quite a few wands in the pack. So it's really up to you entirely which one you choose. I think I'm going to go with this wand of the forest. And the different ones are made just by the different leaves that you use from the different flowers. But the main thing that we need is this living wood twig. This is just a stick, basically, like you get from regular wood. But this is from the living wood in Botania. And how do you get living wood? Well, living wood is actually fairly simple. We've done something very similar to it before. We just need to surround a pure daisy with logs. And then, after a little bit of time, the pure daisy will turn this into living wood, just like it did the stone, into living rock. You see? Just like that. It's done. Fairly simple, fairly easy. So now we should be able to make our living wood planks and make them... Is that how you make it? Oh, right. It's actually from the wood itself. Okay. Fair dues, fair dues. Maybe it's not like sticks. Maybe it's not like sticks. So we should be able to make our staff like so. Now, this is going to allow us to interact with the different things. We can shift. It says unknown status. Because you can see, if we go back to here, it's got a red X next to something. So normally we'd be able to link this to something like that by just holding shift and right clicking it. But no, we can't. You want to know why? Because this needs to send its mana to something else before it can be sent to this. And what is that? It's called a mana spreader. And they're fairly easy to make. If we have a look, it's called a mana spreader. And you'll need one of these. You don't need one of these for every plant. You can have a few surrounding it. You just kind of need one of these. It's just living wood, some gold, and one of those. So there we go. And this place is getting quite crowded with animals. So we'll just put this down here. And then all we got to do is click this and link it to that. You're sending it the wrong way. There you go. Look, you can see now that it's pointing and sending it to that. If we take the wand off, we can no longer see that. But if we right click, you can see that this is aimed at the portal. We do that by shift right clicking that and then shift right clicking this. Now what we need to do is shift right click the ender flame and shift right click to that. And you can see the ender flame is now sending it to this, which is now sending mana to here. Now how do we get the ender flame to give us mana? Well, it burns certain resources. So if we would throw a coal down, it should consume it if the pig would very kindly move out of the way. What is it with all of the animals? Just like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna come and make your life very, very difficult. You know what, piggy? Yeah, that's what I thought. Llama, please bugger off. There we go. And you know what? Y'all can all go. So now this will start generating mana. If we throw another coal down, it might not accept that coal just yet because it's currently doing the current one. It won't accept another resource until after it's consumed the previous one. So to burn that block of coal for as long as it needs to, generating mana that it will then send to the mana spreader, which then sends it to the mana pool. Now we can automate this to some degree, but I want to get a bit more of a setup going first. Remember how I said I wanted to get this hallway done? Well, looking at this, it doesn't look like this hallway is going to get done in this episode. I've got a lot more Botania to get through, and we're already 15 minutes in nearly. But let's get to the Botania setup, because now this is what I've managed to accomplish. We've got 9 endo flames on each one, and each one of these is sending mana to the mana portal. As you can see, they're all connected. All of the endo flames are connected. But I have to keep manually coming in and throwing coal on there. And I don't want to keep doing that. I want to automate this to automatically drop the coal at the right time. And we can do that by using these droppers. All we need to do is position the droppers facing down like so. We need to do that on each side. Now that I've got that in place, I've gone ahead and I put a repeater in just to strengthen the signal. What we should be able to do is just put a switch here. Click that. We should see the droppers fire. They do. They drop one. Fantastic stuff. Now, we don't want to have to keep flicking this lever every time we want to drop one. That's just a little bit annoying. So we want to put something here that is going to automatically drop it for us. Now, we could put down a redstone clock, and that is most certainly a good idea. But I want to use something from Botania. Now, the thing that I've chosen is called an hourglass. And this thing is right here. It's some gold, it's a mana steel ingot, it's redstone, and it's some mana glass. So, how do we get all of this? Well, mana glass is just glass into the mana pool, and I believe mana steel is just iron into the mana pool. Yep, just iron. So, have I got all of that stuff, or do I need to go get some iron? It looks like I need to go get some iron. And converting it is very easy. You can see that there's mana in there. It's almost half full. All we got to do is throw the glass in, and we get it. So there we go. Look, you can see it's coming up right here. It's quite see-through, so it's a bit difficult to get. We'll get 8 of those, and then we just do the same with the iron. Now, you may get ahead of yourself here and think, okay, you know what? I can do all sorts of things with the mana pool. And then you might throw something in there and it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, that could be because you haven't got the right block below it. This is what I'm talking about. If we wanted a sunflower, we would have to throw in an oxide daisy. But if we were to throw one in, even though the mana pool has mana, it's not going to become a sunflower. Because there's this here, this alchemy catalyst. This is a block that needs to be placed below the mana pool. Now, we'll get into that a little bit later, but I just thought I'd show it now in case you're running away with yourself or you're trying to figure something else out and you're wondering, why isn't it transforming? It might just be because you haven't got a catalyst underneath it. And there are various different catalysts. But yeah, you can see more here. Look, you can see the ones that require catalysts. There's quite a few. And there'll be some that don't. These ones require a little bit more. This conjuration catalyst allows us to turn 1 gravel into 2, which is fantastic. And then you've got all of these ones that just don't require any at all. Now, usually, whatever you can do, like you can do an iron ingot to get one mana steel ingot, you can usually do the equivalent of the block as well. Got the glass, we've got the steel, we can finally make up the hovering hourglass, and this is Botania's answer to the redstone clock. Now, we could use redstone clock from any other mod, and it would work the same. I just want to use something from Botania. Now, this is it. Now, unlike a lot of the other redstone clocks, this doesn't actually have any interface. You don't interface with it with the right click or anything like that. Instead, it works as an hourglass would work, by simply trickling sand through it. Now, we need to tell this how often we want this to pulse. Now, I've worked it out. I need it to pulse once every 90 seconds, roughly, to drop one block of coal. And then I'll drop it down and onto the ender flame. And these burn for a grand total of 800 seconds. That's just a little over 13 minutes. And if we drop one every 90 seconds, it means just as the first one burns out its last piece of coal, a new one will drop for it, and it'll just be on that endless cycle. We could drop 9 pieces at once, but I want to drop one every 90 seconds, which will be equivalent to the 9 pieces, but spread over a certain amount of time. Now, how do we tell it how long to go? Well, soul sand is worth a minute. So if we put soul sand in, that'll give it a minute. Red sand is worth 10 seconds. So we want to put in one of those. No, we don't want to put in a whole stack. We want to put in 1 soul sand. Then we want to put in a red sand. Can I not put in multiple? Is it not going to let me put in multiple? Okay, maybe I can't mix and match sand. Okay, well, soul sand is worth a minute. Red sand is worth 10 seconds. And sand is worth 1 second. So we need it to do every 90 seconds. So that's what? We need 9 times 10. So we just need 9. So we should just be able to shift. Just right click that in. And then every 90 seconds, we should see this thing pulse. And a block of coal get dropped down. The hourglass is slowly running out. There's not much left. And there's the pulse. And that has dropped a block of coal that has now been absorbed. So like I said, it's only dropped once, so it's only activated 1 ender flame. But it'll drop another one in another 90 seconds, activating the second ender flame, and then another 90 seconds, the third, the fourth, fifth, all the way to the 9th. By the time it's done the 9th one, on its 10th drop, the first one will have finished burning its charcoal, or its coal, and another one will be dropped ready and in time for the first one to then consume it. Now, I'm dropping them like this for two reasons. One, it's just a lot less resource heavy. We only need one dispenser. And two, these things get confused when you drop like a stack on top of them. They don't always able to pull from it. They should be able to pull from a 7x7 radius around them. But I've been dropping it in the middle and I was dropping a stack. And not all of them would grab from that stack. It would just be the one. So this way, doing it one at a time ensures that they will indeed grab it. So going through Botania, there are going to be a few things that we are going to need. So I'm just going to convert some resources. That used up a lot more mana than I was expecting. But I've got a stack of diamond, a stack of iron, and a few ender pearls that I actually want to just transfer. The ender pearls become mana pearls, and the diamonds become mana diamonds, I do believe. But I don't think there's enough in there to actually get any of these at the minute. Now, while I wait for the mana to build back up, I figured I'd go ahead and I'd make a start on this room and just do a little bit of transformation and a little bit of organization, because right now it doesn't look too good. So I've been hard at work in here, and I've got the first of 2 rooms done. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, we won't be able to get both rooms done yet, because I'm still not sure of all of the things that I want to do when it comes to ore processing and alloying, so this room is kind of empty for now. But in here, what we've got our power over here coming in. We've got our storage drawers moved to this wall from over here, mainly because there just wasn't enough room on this wall to store everything that our farm was making. There's still quite a lot of blank space here, so we can always expand should we find anything else within the mining dimension or another dimension that we decide to mine. This here, ignore this. This is a temporary setup. This is just burning through the backlog of ores. I want these ores all down to about 2,048. As you can see, this one is up to 11,000, and I want to be able to take this out so it's at 2,048. Then it will automatically just go over here and be processed into an ingot. But I need to get them all back down, because when I was setting up originally, I just put some upgrades in there just to keep it from overflowing and backing up. Now, these 2 chests are to actually go. I forgot to get rid of these. There's no need for these anymore. And I did not want to destroy the base. Great way to go. So, over here we've got our mining input chest. Now, I find it very important to be able to see this chest, because this allows me to know if anything is backing up within the system. And it's very easy and quick to get to. So I always like to have access to these kind of chests, just in case I ever need to see anything. So that's there. We've got a stone here set to void. So it will, once it comes out of here, we'll try to put the stone over there first. If it can't put it over there, then it'll put it in this storage drawer right here. So why did I not put a void on that storage drawer, just so it was all more simple? Well, that's because I wanted to make some things out of the stone. These are the things that I wanted to make from the stone. Stone brick, stone gears, stone slabs, and lava stone. We use these a lot. Not the stone brick, but the other 3 that we use a lot. But the stone brick, I think, is going to come in useful a little bit later on. Anyway, so it goes into here. Then it goes into these 3 crafters that make these. Now, for the lava brick, I did need to automate lava. And we could have gone by just simply sending it over here via a ender tank from our lava farm. But I decided to actually go with a magma crucible, because this makes use of stone as well. And this turns the stone into lava. Then it goes into the fluid transposer. We could have used an ender IO tank, but I wanted to keep it within the same mod here. And yeah, we just use this with a bucket. Bucket is pulled into here, then the bucket is sent back up, while the lava stone is pulled back down. So yeah, I do kind of like that. And that's the system that we've got going on here. And there's still quite a few blank spaces to do other things with, should we ever want to craft out using any more of these resources that we get. Now, before we end off on this episode, guys, I want to turn my attention back to Botania. We started this mod and we've got quite far into it, having automated the production of mana. Now, there is one issue that I'm running into. You see, these ender flames are producing enough mana that this is then sending it to here. And this is filling up. Once this is filled, then the ender flames store the mana, but they will not absorb any more, meaning this coal is getting dropped. And if they're full, it will not absorb the coal and will not send any more mana. So, I want to kind of sort of stop that. And there are a couple of ways, you can see it over here, but they're not always making it to the target. Might need to put a precision dropper in. But anyway, yeah, so how can we solve that? Well, there are a few ways. But in StoneBlock, there is an easy and simple way to do this. So, there's 2 ways to do this. And one of them is a mana tablet. Is this 1 word or is this 2? This is 1 word. And this is fairly easy. It's a mana diamond or mana pearl surrounded by living rock. You can get a mana pearl. That's just by throwing ender pearl into it. And then we should just be able to throw this into the mana pool and get all of the mana out and store it this way. Oh, simple mistake. As you can see here, when we look at it with the Wand of the Forest, you can see that it says tablet to mana pool. Right clicking it, I think, or shift right clicking it. Yeah, shift right clicking it changes it. Mana pool to tablet. So that means we can throw the tablet in. That will drain out all of the mana. You can see that it's slowly starting to fill up. You can even see it going into there. So that's one way that we can store mana. But there's another way that I want to do it. And this isn't actually storing mana per se, but it's using the mana. And you don't have to do this way. And this is late game Botania. But we can still do it in StoneBlock because of the loot crate system. Within the loot crates, we are able to get this terra steel. And this terra steel is quite good, because this is some of the late game Botania ingots. And what we can do with this is we can create a terra steel pickaxe. And if we go here, like that, is it not like that? Oh no, I know what I've done wrong. I know what I've done wrong. It actually requires the mana tablet. Like that. Okay, you know what, game? You win this one. You win this one. Terra steel pickaxe. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's 4. It's 4. Okay. Terra steel pickaxe. Now, if you look there, it says D rank. But there is this SS rank. And these get better and better the more you use them. But, oh, sorry, the more they level up. But how do you level up? Well, it's very, very easy. The Terra Steel pickaxe. You know what? I've got my magnet on. Let me take my magnet off. The Terra Steel pickaxe will absorb mana within the mana pool. Now, perks about this pickaxe. It does not despawn. You can leave it in this portal, go about your business, and when you come back, it will still be in this portal gathering mana. And as you can see now, well, it's still a D rank. It hasn't leveled up any. But if we give it some time, it most certainly will. One thing to note, make sure you set it mana pool to tablet like that, not tablet to mana pool. Otherwise, it would just sit there. Now, this item doesn't despawn no matter where you drop it. It doesn't have to be in the mana pool. It could be pretty much anywhere. So don't worry about it. It'll just stay there. If you ever lose it and you've thrown it down, don't worry. It'll be there when you get back. So I'm just going to let this absorb some mana. Actually, we can have a little peek at it now, look. You can see, now it is C rank. Now, this is the interesting bit. You see, at a D rank, it doesn't have any abilities. However, as it levels up, it gets more abilities. So, at level C, it will mine a 3x1 area. Then, at B rank, it'll do a 3x3. At A rank, a 5x5. At S rank, a 7x7. And at SS rank, a 11x11, I believe. Give me a minute, I've actually got it up here. No, it is 9x9. It is 11x11 if you have the Ring of Thor, which we will most certainly be getting at some point. But for right now, this takes a lot of mana to level up to SS. So if you're not doing anything, you just want your mana pool to be sat doing nothing, it's a good idea just to throw this in there and let it sit. So guys, that is going to bring an end to this episode. I'm very happy that we managed to get somewhat into Botania and get that Terra Shatterer pickaxe, although it is a little bit late game. Don't worry, I am going to show you how to get those Terra Steel ingots probably in the next episode, so you can make it if you're following along with this and you're playing a different mod pack. Just wanted to show that one in case you were playing this mod pack and you did have access to Terra Steel. But guys, that is going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, leave it a like and hit subscribe. As always, I'm Casey, you're the awesome folk. Thank you so much for watching. Take care now. Bye. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any